At precisely 9:28 p.m. on May 2, 2000, in a cold room in Arkansas, Christina Marie Riggs took her final breath. She was executed by lethal injection, a punishment for a crime so horrific it sent shivers down the spine of a nation, the murder of her two innocent children. But how did a mother, a licensed nurse, become a child killer? And why, in the end, did she beg for death? It all began on a normal November night in 1997 in Sherwood, Arkansas. 5-year-old Justin Dalton Thomas, with his bright, curious eyes, and 2-year-old Shelby Alexis Riggs, a tiny bundle of joy, were tucked into their beds. Their mother, Christina Marie Riggs, was a licensed practical nurse, a caregiver by profession. On the surface, it seemed like any other evening for this small family. But beneath the quiet, a storm was brewing, a darkness that would soon shatter their world. What could possibly lead a mother to harm her own flesh and blood? The very next morning, the silence of the Riggs home was broken. Christina's mother, worried when she couldn't reach her daughter, arrived at the house. What she found would haunt her forever. Christina was unconscious on the floor, and in their beds, covered with a blanket, lay Justin and Shelby. They were gone. Signs of foul play were undeniable. The discovery immediately sparked a frantic investigation. Who would want to hurt these children? And why was their mother also unresponsive? What happened in those final moments was brutal, a chilling betrayal of a mother's sacred trust. Christina, a nurse, had planned it with cold precision. She got her hands on powerful drugs, potassium chloride, a pain medication called morphine, and sedative pills. Her plan was to inject her children, to quietly end their lives. She started with Justin. She injected the potassium chloride into his veins. But it didn't kill him. Instead, it caused immense, burning pain. Justin cried out. The morphine couldn't stop his suffering. So, Christina did the unthinkable. She smothered her own son. Then, she turned to Shelby. Seeing Justin's agony, Christina spared her daughter the injection. She simply smothered the 2-year-old in her bed. 2 innocent lives, extinguished by the one person who should have protected them most. After her horrific acts, she laid her babies on her bed, covered them with a blanket, and wrote notes. Notes about ending her own life. Then, she tried to follow them, taking many pills and injecting herself. But she didn't succeed. The police quickly honed in on Christina. The evidence trail was clear. She had obtained the drugs from her hospital and a local pharmacy. The suicide notes found at the scene, written in her own hand, confessed to the unspeakable. There were no signs of forced entry, no other suspects. This wasn't a random act of violence. This was something far more disturbing. Investigators learned about Christina's past, a history of struggle, of personal demons. They began to build their case, piece by agonizing piece. The question wasn't who did it, but why? And could anyone truly understand the darkness that led to such a crime? Christina Riggs was born in Lawton, Oklahoma, and grew up in Oklahoma City. Her life was far from easy. She claimed she was abused as a child, and by the age of 14, she was already turning to alcohol, tobacco, and marijuana to cope. At 16, she became pregnant, giving the child up for adoption. She later became a licensed practical nurse, caring for others. She had Justin in 1992, and later married John Riggs, having Shelby in 1994. They moved to Sherwood, Arkansas. But even then, her life was marked by trouble, ending in divorce. Her defense team would later speak of her deep depression and something called PTSD, a powerful reaction to bad things that happened to her, even being a nurse near the Oklahoma City bombing. But for the jury, these were not excuses. They were simply parts of a complex, tragic story. By June 1998, Christina Marie Riggs stood trial. She pleaded not guilty, claiming she was too sick in the head to know what she was doing. But prosecutors painted a different picture. They argued that Christina killed her children out of a twisted hatred. The Pulaski County jury listened to all the evidence. Their verdict was swift, guilty. Then came the sentencing phase. This is where Christina made a shocking choice. She stopped her lawyers from trying to save her life. She told the court, plainly, that she wanted to be executed. She even fought to drop her own appeals, seemingly embracing the ultimate punishment. It was a choice that baffled many and left an open question. Was this a final act of remorse or something else entirely? 2 years after her conviction, on Sunday, April 30th, 2000, Christina Riggs was moved to the Cummins unit, ready for her fate. 2 days later, on May 2nd, she entered the execution chamber. She was the fifth woman executed in the United States since the death penalty came back, and the first in Arkansas since 1845. Her last meal request was simple: no specific meal, just whatever was available. Her final statement was short, but heavy with regret. No words can express just how sorry I am for taking the lives of my babies. No way I can make up for or take away the pain I have caused everyone who knew and loved them. Her very last words, as the lethal injection began, were whispered, a haunting echo in the quiet room: "I love you, my babies." Years have passed since that dark night in Sherwood. The names Justin and Shelby, once victims of an unthinkable crime, remain a somber reminder of the precious lives lost. While Christina Riggs faced justice, the scars of her actions live on. Her story leaves us with difficult questions about mental illness, personal responsibility, and the profound tragedy of a mother's ultimate betrayal. Her choice to embrace death row, to waive her appeals, remains a chilling mystery, a final, unsettling chapter in a life consumed by darkness. What are your thoughts on this tragic case? Share your perspective in the comments below. If you found this deep dive into true crime compelling, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more stories, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next upload. Thank you for watching.